many of us learned that in order to have well-being, that we have to control our thoughts and emotions particularly, and our experiences to some degree as well. And so, what we're saying when we say that is that there are causes and conditions that bring well-being or perfection about. And so that's like saying that the objects within space are the causes and conditions for creating space. Do you see what I'm saying? And so it's a totally misconceived idea. It's ill-conceived to believe that causes and conditions are going to lead to already present perfection. It's just like saying that the trees and the ocean are responsible for the creation of space. So that's an illustration that kind of points out the silliness of thinking in that way. Now, the beauty about resting as awareness is that it constantly is affirming. It's self-affirming. So the first instant of resting as awareness, there's that aha. It's like, oh, wow, I never knew this was here. I never knew that there was something about me that was just so cool. And so when we first acknowledge it in that way, then we just want to see more of it. We want to test the waters some more, so to speak, to see if it really is there. Now, that one instant of awareness, that first instant of awareness, is all there is. That's all there is. That's the center of the universe and all of the universe and all world systems, just that instant of awareness. And so you see there's nothing to look for and there's nowhere to get to. It's just that in your own experience, by acknowledging awareness repeatedly, it becomes obvious at all times, finally. And so, you can really count on that. Resting as awareness isn't like other things. It's not a thing. And so even though it may not seem like anything's happening initially, or you may question or doubt and say, oh, well, how can just a few minutes of awareness now and then add up to anything? Awareness isn't like that. It's self-kept. So every time you acknowledge awareness, the self-keptness of that becomes more and more obvious. And so it's really, really important to make sure that you have that 100% commitment and that you're not just toying around with the idea of awareness. But at the same time, be good to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Take it easy. Take it easy. Mark my words, short moments, many times. That's all it takes. In gaining familiarity with awareness, there are a lot of new points of view that come up, points of view you've never had before, maybe more interesting phenomena. And so when these more interesting phenomena come up, just don't make them into anything. Just continue to rest. They're all absolutely equal. And it isn't uncommon to feel greatly expansive when with other people who are resting. That's one of the interesting phenomena. And but again, it's not something to try to maintain or sustain any kind of energetic bodily state. Yeah. Because you know already from your experience with awareness that it doesn't have anything to do with an energetic bodily state. Yeah. It's beyond anything that can be described. It's free of all descriptions whatsoever. Yet it's the only substance of all descriptions. And so by remaining as that, it becomes obvious that it is the substance of all descriptions, even those that seem exotic and like something you would like to maintain forever. As human beings, most of us have learned that what it means to be as a human being is to be born, to live a life, and then to die. So we just think that that's what being human is, and that while we're living our life every day, we go through the states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping. So the basic stuff of what a human being is birth, life, and death, waking, dreaming, and sleeping. And so when we have that kind of a belief system, our whole life is lived within the context that we're going to die. And we have a lot of questions about that and wonder what it's going to be like. Most of us are afraid of dying because we're so identified with the human body and the human mind and all our thoughts, and we're afraid of what it'll be like not to have a body and what comes afterward and that sort of thing. So in gaining familiarity with awareness, there is incredible power in realizing that death too is a point of view. It's just another point of view appearing in awareness, just like any other point of view, like life, or like birth, or like waking, or dreaming, or sleeping. And this all sounds philosophical to one degree or another, and it is philosophical to one degree or another until it's realized in one's own experience. And realizing it in your own experience can only come about by gaining familiarity with awareness. To really realize that even though you have the experience of being a human being, that you're always and forever flawlessly beyond being a human being and free of being a human being, can only come about through experience. And with that comes about complete loss of the fear of death. Complete loss of the fear of death. And no question whatsoever about what's going to occur, or what it'll be like, or... And now a very simple, straightforward way to experience this is to rest as awareness and just see how the points of view appear and resolve, appear and resolve, appear and resolve simultaneously and instantaneously. When thoughts appear, just ask yourself, where are they? Where are they located? Where exactly is the thought that you're having this moment? Can you say that it's inside you? Can you say that it's outside you? Can you say that it's substantial in any way? Does it have a shape or any kind of particular place or location that it is? And can you really say where it began or where it ends? And then when you look at thoughts in that way, then you can ask yourself about any thought. Well, what about the thought of love? Where is that located? What is its shape like? Where does it begin and end? And then ask yourself about another thought, like anger. How is it different from the thought of love? How is one thought different from another? Are they really different in any way? Or does the imposed difference come about through training ourselves to believe there is a difference? And so you see, this is very tangible, a very tangible way of looking at your own experience and really seeing that what you call a thought really isn't a thing. It really isn't something that has an independent nature. It doesn't have an individuated identity that is self-generated. It didn't make itself come about. And when we believe that our thoughts have the power to either help us or harm us, we believe that they are individual things with a power of their own, that is somehow at odds with us and can either affect us beneficially or in a harmful way. And so, many of us have been plagued, especially with thoughts related to emotions, and emotions are really just thoughts. They wouldn't be anything without the thought that describes them. And when we give our bodily states or mental states that kind of power, then we feel crazy. It's as simple as that. We feel like we can't possibly trust ourselves because there's always this war going on within all these thoughts and emotions, and then trying to control them or regulate them in some way. When we've tried to keep such a tight grip on what we're thinking, then it can be alarming just to let it be as it is. But there's no rush. Short moments repeated many times. That's it. In that simple way, in your own experience, you'll have a clear and clear understanding of who you are.